I guess one of the questions we ask ourselves sometimes when we're thinking about practice, and that brings us to practicing, is how can we have some more peace and happiness in our lives? And that's kind of basic, right? Like, sort of, we should ask that now and again. How can I have real peace and happiness? Huh. And do you ever ask that question and whatever answer comes to your mind, you know it's the wrong one? Because even if you say, okay, I should meditate more, well then, you try that and it doesn't work. I was thinking about that because I came upon this exchange, this talk that happened between way back in, you know, like 1400 years ago, between one of the old Zen ancestors named Huineng. And I saw this exchange and I thought, this is really crazy. So I'll read it to you. So this one really advanced monk came to Huineng and he said, you know, his name is Walun. And he said, Walun has a lot of skill, which enables him to cut off all his thoughts. He's talking in third person, I don't know why. So selfless, I guess. So selfless. In the face of circumstances, his mind is not aroused. And daily, monthly, wisdom grows. Sounds great. Like, we all want to be like that. You know, you're very skillful. You know how to stop your disturbing thoughts. When circumstances happen, you're not like following it like a worm on a hook. You're not like a fish grabbing at that worm. Okay? Which, you know, even if it's like a really attractive worm, is that like an oxymoron? An attractive worm? But you don't bite the hook, okay? You're not hooked. Sounds great. His wisdom increases. But he wasn't the ancestor. I mean, he was talking to Huineng, and Huineng says, Huineng also, okay, Huineng has no skill. He does not cut off all thoughts. In the face of circumstances, his mind is often aroused. So how can there be a growth of wisdom? That was his answer to the exchange. Now, the greatest, you know, ancestor here is Huineng, who has been handed down as like the example of how to be. So when we hear him saying, you know, I often am disturbed by my thoughts. I'm always screwing up, like I'm lacking skill. And I see attractive things and I get excited. And I haven't noticed any wisdom. So who would you rather be? I mean, we're supposed to say Walun, but actually, you know, the great ancestor is Huineng. Isn't that weird? So what are we trying to do in our practice? If we're not trying to be like Walun, but actually Huineng is our archetype, our kind of example, how do I take that? And I think there's under the surface there, if you hear Huineng, if you can hear him underneath, you see that he is completely at peace with himself. He has fully accepted who and what he is. He has let go of the battle to change into some super Buddha, right? he sees that that's just an attachment. That spiritual progress, wisdom, skill, so much of the teachings can so easily become just attractive worms on the hook that we're trying to bite. And then we get hooked and we're dragged by, circumstances. Which ones? Spiritual circumstances. But still, we're being pulled by outside factors. Okay? And you're in a struggle. The battle. And instead of the battle being you against the outside, it's the battle of you against the inside. And it's a very common mistake. Before we practice, it's us against the world. And then often the mistake in practice is then it's us against ourselves. Don't make that mistake. Because the mistake in the mistake is that you're taking yourself as something solid and real. If you're struggling against yourself, it still means that you are holding and very attached to your sense of self. The problem is not that you have all these thoughts and everything going on, and you're unskillful, and you're screwing up, and wisdom seems so far away, and sometimes peaceful, but most of the time not, sometimes happy, most of the time not. That's not the problem. The problem is that you believe that's you. When I was talking to someone before I went to this little retreat I did in England. I said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to this monastery," and she's not involved in practice, doesn't know anything about it. She said, "God, like, are you okay? Like, are you happy?" She said, it seemed like something I must be like committing myself to sort of. It would make more sense if I just like admitted myself to psychiatric ward, but no, instead it's a monastery. So and I said, "Am I happy?" If I say I'm happy, it's wrong. If I say I'm unhappy, it's wrong. What do I say? Couldn't say anything. Didn't help her. So, because to say I am something is to make a mistake, right? Sometimes I experience happiness. Sometimes I experience sadness. Okay, sometimes my mind is aroused. Sometimes my mind is dull, right? Sometimes this, sometimes that. What am I? Who am I? Okay? Is there an answer to those questions? And Hui Neng has answered it. He said, I'm none of that. And because I see that I'm none of that, then I can experience all of that without any problem. Okay? Without any problem. Even the fear, the anxiety, whatever it is, I can experience that fully because I'm not attached to it. I'm not identifying with, I'm not defining myself by these experiences. Okay? And the core, the root problem, the root attachment is not that I'm attached to pleasure and I'm, have aversion to pain. It's that I'm attached to a sense of me, who I am. Am I happy? If I'm attached to being happy, then I'm going to feel like a failure when I'm not. What's wrong with my practice? Why am I so miserable? And I'm in this, on this retreat where I'm supposed to be happy. Believe me, you're going to be unhappy on retreat. If you're unhappy outside of retreat. And if you're happy outside of retreat, you'll be happy on retreat. I mean, what's the diff? And what does retreat mean? Okay, retreat means turning away from the outside and looking at the inside. When I was talking with the meditation of saying, listen, just listen, that's what retreat is. Retreat is when you listen instead of speaking. Right? That's retreat. And it can happen anytime. It can happen at work, it can happen at school, it can happen like with other people. Instead of always wanting to put yourself forward with your ideas, your thoughts, your commentary, your opinions, you retreat. It doesn't mean you leave your circumstances. It means you desist, you pause from putting yourself forward in them. And that's the listening part. You can be in the same situation, but on retreat. Okay? You've retreated from having to assert yourself. And you've returned to the natural balance of the listening mind. Right? Because when you no longer have to assert yourself, then, hey, what's the problem? You know, what's the problem? And that's the main difference between Walloon and Huineng. Walloon is like, I am skillful. But he kind of says, Walloon is skillful. You know, Walloon sees wisdom growing. Well, that's just special. You know? You are, you know, something else, aren't you? And Huineng is like, you know, whatever this Huineng is, he's a problem. But okay, I accept that. Because who's Huineng anyway? So there's two aspects to meditation that we need to keep in mind. Okay, there is the deep listening, acceptance, resting in the present mind awareness and mindfulness. That resting in and letting be, and that letting be which also is a letting go. Okay? Real important. Like the basis of the practice. But if that's all it is, it can become dull. And also attached. Look, Walloon is very good at that. But he started to create a new self out of that. Real good meditator. Skillful. You know? Huineng offers us the balance to that, which is inquiring, asking, who the hell is this Huineng anyway? Did you ever ask, like when you're so, you would say to Walloon, you know, when you're so skillful, do you ever ask yourself, who is being skillful? You know, of course, Walloon is. Yeah. So this, the inquiry, that question, the meditative, the contemplative question that asks the basic things without jumping to the conclusion. Right? Like, I am happy is jumping to the conclusion. Or I am sad is jumping to the conclusion of what I am or who I am. Okay? So you have this restful, attentive, listening, aware mind, the awareness that is the silence behind the sound. And with that, it does not mean that you have abandoned mind, that there's no mind. Believe me, mind is there, right? Thinking mind is there. But you use that skillfully with inquiry. And the inquiry, okay, the meditative questions, these freedom questions, to free you from some of the simple and convenient answers that you've become used to, are, who's mindful anyway? You know? Who's doing this practice? Who is calm now? Who is restless now? Who is upset now? Whose opinion is this anyway? Mine? When you ask that basic question, who's sitting? What is sitting? What am I doing and who's doing it? Okay, basically. There's three things, three questions that are meditative, contemplative, liberating questions, inquiring questions that will help your meditation become a little, I would say, a little freer. What am I doing? Why am I doing it? And who the hell's doing it anyway? Okay? Those three questions. What am I doing now? I'm sitting. Skillful, skillful. Why? Because I want to be a good meditator. Do you see the ego there? Why? Where's the bodhicitta? Where's the compassion in your practice? Why? Is it for you? Okay? Are you trying to gain something out of this? And not just whether it's meditation. Because that's easy to recognize that you have an ulterior motive. Right? But outside of meditation, when you start to look around and say, why am I doing this right now? My life is short. My days are counted. This could be it. is this how I want to spend my last day? And then, who's doing it? Who's doing it? What, why, who? Ask those 3 questions, okay? And the restful mind suddenly becomes a little less dull and more attentive. It's easy to just float in meditation sometimes. Even if it's difficult, it's like, okay, it's a scary movie today, or it's a depressing movie today, but hey, I'm still going to watch it. Meaning I'm still going to get something out of it. I'm kind of enjoying the suffering, you know? We all experience that. You know, there's that saying in English, like, misery loves company, right? So when you're feeling upset and miserable, you like to spend it with yourself. You like to keep yourself company, right, with your upset. Because then it feels good. You have a witness, me. Well, who are you? You see how the question helps? Who's looking at this misery? Who's miserable in the first place? So I'll give you a couple of examples where we can ask these questions and it will help us. But it has to go with that restful, open, accepting awareness. Because without the restful, open, accepting awareness, the questioning will become stressful. Okay? But with only the accepting, open, restful awareness of your present moment, without the inquiry, it can be self-serving. Like, yes, now I am relaxed. Oh yeah? Okay. Time to remember Hui Neng. So, before I was, a couple of examples that, you'll find your own examples, and I'll show you a couple of mine. You know, when you travel, it always comes up with, travel is good, not because you're going to see new places, but you're going to see yourself. That's what you're going to see. Because sometimes when you're in the same environment, you get used to sort of not seeing yourself. Okay? Because you go on automatic, right? But when you're not on automatic as much, you start to see, like, not just the outside world, but at least also the inside world. You have a heightened perception. Not only of a new outer environment, but why do we put ourselves in a new outer environment? Not just have a heightened perception of an outer environment, but to have increasingly a heightened perception of our inner environment too. They go together because there's really ultimately no separation between the outside and inside, is there? So go travel and know that the fact that you are paying more attention on the outside, wow, look at that, look at that, look at that. See that as an opportunity to equally have a heightened perception on the inside. Right? So that when you do come back to your ordinary automatic environment, it can be a little less automatic. Okay? A little less. So my first experience of that was like the night before I was supposed to fly a couple weeks ago. I don't get sick. Okay? Like I get sick maybe once every 2 years. Night before I got sick, like really sick. Why would this happen? Okay? Why? Like once in 2 years and it's the night before I'm supposed to fly? Come on. You know, and of course my mind is, why? And why me? And why now? You see, I was asking the wrong questions. I was asking questions based on a real strong sense of myself, which is, this should not be happening. Okay? And this is going to ruin my time. Right? Me! Right? I paid for this. So then I'm in this lineup, you know, long security lineup to get to the checkout counter, feeling totally miserable. And at some point I realized, you know, yeah, I'm very unskillful at this point. No wisdom, nothing. But wait a second, there's a very strong physical experience. You know, pain, fatigue, just fever. I mean, all of it, right? It was undeniable. It was there. And when I suddenly, for maybe just some luck, I examined that. And I started to say, okay, well, let me just like really look at this. Okay, I feel like crap, let me look at it, because what else am I going to do? I've got lots of time now. All right. And a couple things happened. One, it was my body and also my, cloudy mind. But was that me? Especially when a day before I wasn't sick, and a few days later I wouldn't be sick. This is a really strong experience. That's number one. When you look at the experience without the self, you do experience the pain. Believe me, the pain doesn't go away. And also my mind somewhere, these thoughts going, God, I wish it would go away. I wish it would go away. Why is this, alcohol not working? So I was wishing it was going away, and I could see that. But without the self in the front and center, the suffering diminished. Okay? And when you can look at pain, pain is an invitation to notice the difference between pain and suffering. Suffering comes from self. Pain comes from life. Right? When you experience pain, it is undeniable, but it is an opportunity to use your awareness to simply stay with that experience. And to notice that as soon as you start identifying and creating a story around it, it got worse. And the story is not about the present. That's the other thing we have to recognize. That our suffering does not come from the present awareness. Suffering comes from past and future. Okay? My suffering came from looking at the past saying, I never get sick, why now? Looking at the past. And the future, how long is it going to last? My trip's ruined. Okay? The suffering came from past and future, not from present. When I could just say, present. Okay, what does this feel like? Oh, it's like, it sucks. It's like really hard. Really painful, really uncomfortable. That was pain, okay? Suffering was self. The story. And stories are narratives. And narratives occur in time. Right? And time is past and future. But present is timeless. So if you can be aware of your discomfort in the present, you will experience pain intimately. But the self-centered suffering diminishes. So again, this practice is how we can suffer less. It does not mean how we can have less pain. You will get sick, old, and die. And death will be painful for 99% of the people. Right? And probably, especially if you have cancer, more pain than you've ever experienced. Right? Practice now with the pain you have. So, the other thing that you can do when you experience pain is it is a great leveler. Leveler, equalizer. Without pain, where is compassion? Compassion is abstract. Completely abstract. Pain offers an opening to real compassion. Because, hey, this is what it's like to have a human body. And you look around, other people have human bodies too. Well, I'm glad you're not sick, because if you were, you'd feel like this. Okay? Or if you are sick, I know what it feels like, and I hope it ends soon. So you can see, you can take your pain and transform it into compassion. Just in the same way that you can take your pain and separate it from suffering. So that's the second thing you can do. One, observe your present and notice that when it's just present, it's pain and not suffering. Number two, use it as a great equalizer so that you can bring some reality into your compassion. Number three, it's humbling. It is humbling. Sickness is really good for the ego. Why? It lets you know how, your destiny is not in your control. Not everything's in your control. That little virus, you can wash your hands as much as you want, but it's going to get you at some point. And if not that, old age and death will. So it's humbling. Okay? So don't see it automatically, immediately as like a failure or ruining your time. Maybe this is exactly the point in time that you need to do some work on your ego. And this sickness is here to help you with that. So it came at exactly the right time. And thinking that it's exactly the wrong time is exactly telling you it's the right time. Because all your plans were so important for you. And still I would rather it not have happened. I'm not kidding myself. But that's my self-thought. And yeah, as a self I have plans and stuff. I'm not going to say those don't exist. No, they do. Okay? And I'm going to accept it all. I have these foibles, I have these, weaknesses. Okay, so be it. I'm going to have them and I'm going to accept them. I'm not going to feed them. But I'm not going to say bad. Say okay. And there's more. There's more. So, another experience I had was there's around this monastery. There's some really beautiful nature, and I would go for walks, walking meditation. It's really great, quite beautiful. I mentioned this to a couple of people beforehand, and you walk in, everything's perfect. Now, I want you to notice that nothing changed in my environment. Okay, I'm going for this walk in this beautiful area around this lake. How perfect. My walk was divided into 3 parts. The first part was heaven. La-di-da. I'm going for a great walk. It is beautiful. The sun is shining, and there's clouds, and the leaves are yellow, and it's cool, and there's a lake, and birds are singing. That's great. Next thing I know, somebody told me, okay, just keep going the path and keep to the left. I'm like, okay. But then the path splits, like, wait a second. Where do I go? I didn't know where to go. So, of course, I went where I thought I should go. And it must have been the wrong way, because lo and behold, I was lost. And I had nowhere. I was in the middle of a mud field. How the hell did I get here? I was following the way, so I thought. And then the next third of it was like deeper and deeper in this, looking for a path, and I was lost and I couldn't find it. This is not a metaphor, okay? I'm lost in the mud and stuck without rubber boots or anything. This is like muddy England. Get me out of here. I'm like, how do I get out of here? Get me out of here. I don't know who I'm asking. I was angry at the guy who gave me directions. What a jerk. He should have known better. He's done this walk many times. Give me better directions. Or learn better English. So, everyone's fault but mine, right? And then, so I spent the second third just being frustrated, lost, and you know what? It's still a beautiful day. Still a beautiful day. Sun shining, leaves dropping, wind blowing, lake around me, mud, so birds singing, and I'm really pissed off. So I'm missing that. Then near the end of that third, then there's this like loud noise. What is going on? This is my peaceful walk. A guy with a couple of guys with like dirt bikes, Why would you bring a dirt bike here? Look at this. This is a place for meditation, not for dirt bikes. And he's like, oh, hello. I was like, oh, great. How you doing? He got stuck. But he liked it. That was the difference. He liked being stuck. It was like fun, getting out in the mud and stuff. And afterwards I saw it. He didn't mind seeing me. He was like, happy seeing me. Oh, good morning. So, was he invading my space? Was I invading his space? Whose space was disturbed? Whose space was it? And finally, I just kept going and I found the road again. And the third was, it wasn't heaven and it wasn't hell. It was just a road. It's just a road. With my mind. Okay? So what is it going to be for you? What is it going to be? And as Huineng said, don't expect that it's always going to be like wisdom, meaning the third part, like just the road is the road, pure equanimity. No, sometimes it's heaven and sometimes it's hell. And sometimes it's neither heaven nor hell, it just is what it is. Okay? And with all of those options and experiences that we will have every day, sickness and health. And it's not like you're so much happier when you're healthy. I just found other problems, like the motorbike. Right? But more and more, you will retreat. And you will see that it's not about external conditions, providing me with an easy escape from suffering. The path is long, and it takes ardor. It takes dedication and devotion, effort and energy, okay, and a lot of practice. And along the path, you will constantly be meeting your demons and your angels, right? Your heavens and your hells, and just the path as it is. None of that matters, as long as you just keep going, right? You just keep going. And you end up exactly where you need to be. Why? Because that's where you are. The other thing I wanted to say with this quote from Huineng was, he said, one enlightened moment and an ordinary man is a Buddha. One deluded moment and a Buddha is an ordinary man. That is helpful. Okay, that is helpful. And I think wise. Right? Because it's not like some distant horizon that eventually you'll get there. You will have enlightened moments, okay, on travels, on your daily life. You just pay attention. Just pay attention. Embrace that moment. You will have deluded moments, okay? And you will just feel stuck and small. That's your moment. That's your moment. Nothing more, nothing less. It is what it is. How do we maintain poise and practice? Well, I want to just read a short sutta. Bade Karata Sutta, which Thich Nhat Hanh translated as the discourse on knowing the better way to be alone. I love that translation. Right? It's got this nice short Bade Karata Sutra. Okay, Bade Karata. Anyway, this discourse on knowing the better way to be alone. Huh. Well, what do I mean be alone? Right now. Right now. Yeah, we're together. But you know what? It's you and your mind. It's you and your mind. Alone means taking responsibility. Alone means the outside and other people in my environment and my experiences are not going to do it for me. Whether it's a lovely walk along a lake or a lovely walk along a lake. Okay? Heaven or hell does not depend on that walk. Right? Knowing the better way to be alone means that you recognize more and more your mind defines your experience. Your experience did not define your mind. And how do we understand that? Let's just hear the words. This discourse is so straightforward and clear, it is very helpful. You shouldn't chase after the past or place expectations on the future. What is past is left behind. The future is as yet unreached. Whatever quality is present, you clearly see right there. Right there. Not taken in. Unshaken. That's how you develop the heart. Ardently doing what should be done today. For, who knows, tomorrow? Death. There is no bargaining with mortality. Whoever lives thus, ardently, relentlessly, both day and night, has truly had an auspicious day. So says the peaceful sage. All right, I love this little sutra.
We chant it here. Sometimes.
Huh?
We
You
chant
chant it here?
Yeah.
Nice. In English or in Pali?
Both.
Both?
English.
Oh, great. Keep chanting. But even better, how can we internalize this sutra so that it really becomes, if you're really wondering how you can deal with all of your suffering and let go of it, this sutra reminds us it is not a mystery or some sort of difficult high practice. It is actually so exquisitely simple that we miss it. What is it? Okay, whatever quality is present, you clearly see it right there. Okay, whatever quality it is. That's why Huinen can say, yeah, sometimes I'm unskillful, sometimes I'm skillful, sometimes I'm aroused and happy, sometimes I'm dull, sometimes I'm angry, sometimes I'm impatient. Whatever quality I have, I see it. I see it. This is a Zen teacher called Toni Packer. She said, seeing is dealing. You want to deal with your issues? See it. Just see it. Don't get involved, analyze, try to unpack it, try to work on it. Maybe for some things you need to do that. But in this approach, whatever quality is, okay, you see it right there. You're present. You see it right there. There it is. Okay? And then he says, you see it clearly right there. And when you see it as it is, okay, a phenomena that is ephemeral, meaning something happening that is just passing. It's happening in transit. And everything you experience is passing. What does that allow us to do by seeing the nature of impermanence in everything you look at? Any quality that is not fixed, it helps you let go of your grasp of identifying with it a little bit. Like, I'm sick, I'm sick, I'm sick. I'm looking at it. Wow, there's stuff going on. Who is sick? Remember the inquiry there. Don't forget to ask those questions. Who is in pain right now? Who is the person making the story right now? Who is afraid of it continuing tomorrow right now? Who is this? Yeah, who is this? But as he says here, which I like a lot, you clearly see right there, not taken in. Not taken in. What does that mean, not taken in? It means you're not deceived by it. You haven't, been tricked. What do I mean been tricked? I haven't been fooled. Not taken in. Right? You're not taken in by that quality. Wait, I looked at that quality. What does it mean I'm not taken in? Not fooled by it? That it accurately represents you. It's a good reflection of you as a person. And that's why Huinen can say, yeah, sometimes I'm aroused, but it's not me. It's just my habits. It's habit of mine that I've been living for so long, and I see it and I say, okay, I'm okay with all that junk. Why? Because I'm not taken in by it. I'm not fooled by it. I see it for what it is. Okay? The habits of my mind, personality, conditioning, all this sort of stuff. Yeah, okay. I let it be. Does it mean it's going to go away, disappear? No. Letting it be just means, all right, I'm not taken in. I'm not fooled. I'm not fooled by it. It's not a flag saying, this is me, good or bad. Okay? How often we identify with our experiences either to get a sense of pride or a sense of shame. And if you're not taken in, then all of that is extra, right? So let yourself be up and down. And it doesn't need to mean anything more than what's happening right now. The story is extra. It means you've been taken in by it. You've been fooled by your experience. And you know, it's pretty important to practice this right now and not wait. Mainly because I don't know how much time we have. And that's not an academic or a theoretical statement. That's a very practical one. This evening, in a few minutes, is going to end. So if you're paying attention, great. If you weren't, it's gone forever, right? Your life is going to end. If you're paying attention, great. If you weren't, maybe you'll have another chance. Okay, but you won't be as comfortable. Because if you wasted this one, it's going to be more difficult next time. Okay? And I was saying this to somebody on retreat, like, what's the good thing about having a longer retreat, or about having a schedule, and about having more time to familiarize yourself with a practice? You are rehabituating your mind to be aware and conscious, and not to be taken in by, the worms on the hook that are saying, I'll make you happy, or this will make you sad, right? So basically, we just need this training. As he said, be ardent, ardently training, put energy into it, basically. Be serious, take your practice seriously, take yourself less. Be present, and don't be fooled. Rest in this moment, and always ask the important questions. And you'll be fine. So before we end with a minute back in silence, is there anything someone would like to say?
I thought maybe to add to your sentence in the end, to take the practice seriously, to take yourself not so seriously, but to take our condition seriously. And I find maybe Huan Yin words, we need also to remember his context. And I think he was a monk. He was practicing for a long time. Because sometimes I feel that we need to swim sometimes against the stream of our desires or the society. And it's take a lot of effort, and I think it's important. Before going beyond good and evil, we have good and bad. Before going there.
Yes, it's true. Take appreciate your conditions. Okay, appreciate them. Because they're rare, and it's a privilege. And to have a group like this is a total privilege. To go to a retreat center is a total privilege. It's like, wow, it's all set up for you. But what is going to help with that, and that's also, I think, in this sutra, was very clear. Death. Okay, don't forget that these conditions are very temporary and fragile. Also, that's why I said, sickness is showing you that the condition of health is also, you can't take for granted. The conditions, a lot of the conditions that we're thinking about here, death, sickness, and aging, right, help remind us whoa, appreciate this, take those conditions seriously. And if you get sick, take that condition seriously. Right? If you're healthy, take that condition seriously. If you have a great space to sit, take that condition seriously. Right? And all of them, meaning appreciate them, because they're not going to last.
And sometimes we need to work for them, because we're doing choices in life where to put our energy, where. And, and then because we need to work to create the condition, otherwise, it's harder. It will be just, I think, harder.
Yeah.
It will be harder. That's why I think, that's why we sit, because to support the condition. We still have the mind, which is, we all have trouble sitting, but it's, it supports the practice. So we need to put effort to be in this condition. Whether it's sitting or in, in good living, or have good friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I found it extremely important and not easy.
Yeah, sitting is dependent on all those supporting factors, the Eightfold Path. Like, let's just look at that. I mean, it's hard to sit well if the rest of your day you're speaking like a fool, or worse, right? Or if you are, not keeping precepts, if you're like a thief and then you come for some peace and quiet, it's kind of like, come on, you just kill somebody, or like these are basic, but those are all the supporting conditions. There's sila, samadhi, there's panya. There's all these supporting conditions that the Dharma works together like that. And and it becomes more urgent when we do take how short this time is seriously. Right? I mean, even if you have many years left, and I hope everyone does, it still is not a lot of time. I mean, the time most of us are still young. I mean, most of you. But it flies by. Okay? It flies by. And then you think, wow, I wish I'd started earlier. Well, right now it is earlier. So good. So let's finish for a minute, come back and just sit and let everything, all these words just evaporate. So let's dedicate this evening may our practice be a benefit to ourselves, for being liberated from suffering and realizing our true awakened minds. May it be a benefit to those around us in this hall, and those in our families, our friends, those at work, at school, those in this city, country, and further into this whole world. May all beings benefit from our practice tonight. And may we live our lives in such a way that we continue to benefit all others.